Good morning po, good afternoon, good evening, kung saan man kayo nalulugar ngayon. Si Mentong with Kaado, very early in our program, although we came in at 8:08. We're waiting for Kaana and maybe AJ will join us, but she's not yet in. And of course, Ka Joshua is with us. Si Daldit Samonte is already with us very, very early. Hazel Ayes and Pinay Paparazzi. I think sa kabila, nakita ko na si Brian Pineda is with us. Ressa Sumawang, doon natanggap na kaya yung panalo niyang Huawei watch. We'll ask her. And Juliet Camaro is with us. Ka Joshua, may report ka ba dun kay Ressa? Natanggap na. Okay, good. And we're waiting for Ressa's picture with the Huawei watch that she won. And by the way, can we show it?
Yeah, we can show it, I think.
By the way, meron akong actually binili ko ito, no? Kasi bilib na bilib ako dito kay Artemio Ricarte, ang ating general sa Katipunan. Ito po ay inalokan ng Amerikano ng 3 beses na mag-swear ng allegiance sa Amerika. Hindi niya ginawa po, no? Siya ay nanatili sa Japan at sumama pa sa mga puwersa ng Hapon dito sa Pilipinas nung sila ay nanakop ng Pilipinas at tumulong na magpaliwanag ng mga layunin ng Japan sa kanilang paglaban dito sa Western imperialism. Unfortunately, hindi po talaga maintindihan ng Pilipino at ng mga ibang Asyano yung paggamit ng dahas para manakop ng mga bansa dito sa Asia, although their intention was to drive away Western imperialism. Iyan po ang pagkakamali na hindi po ginagawa ng China. And there are reasons why the Japanese did it that way. Hindi po sila tulad ng China na napakalaki, napaka-resource rich and population rich, and may landmass kung saan pwede sa kasalukuyang sitwasyon mag-angkat ng mga langis sa Russia and other landmass countries. Ginipit ng Western powers, particularly the United States, ang Japan, na walang makuhang langis kundi by sea at walang sariling langis. China has its own oil resources and also many other sources outside its territory, outside its country like Russia. Yan ay mga options na wala sa kamay ng mga Hapones during that period in the Second World War. And so napilitan sila manakop lalo na target nila Malaysia kasi may oil ng Malaysia dun sa Sabah and so on. And sa Pilipinas, for the geostrategic reason, they had to occupy it to push the Americans out. So yung occupation was really the problem of the Japanese. But they had to take that gamble. Kasi pati yung Pearl Harbor, ginawa nila dahil nga that was the only way to stop the entire interdiction, yung pagharang ng langis, supply ng langis sa Japan, which was essential for its industry. I think si General Ricarte understood all that, and refused to compromise with Western imperialism, which is really the issue for the past 500 years. By the way, itong umagang ito, siyempre, ang mga bagong storya sa mga pahayagan ay lumalabas after midnight, no? Or yung iba hanggang 3:00 ng umaga, nagpapasok pa ng bagong balita. And of course, while we're waiting for our other friends to join us, by the way, buuin ko lang yung story tungkol dito kay General Ricarte, no? So by impulse, nabili ko itong libro with the e-commerce or internet. But I actually already have a copy. It cost me 400 pesos. Isasama din natin sa raffle ito in our pool of books. We have other donations coming in ng mga libro. So we'll have more exciting books lined up in the weeks and months to come. Going back now to the daily review ng mga latest news, na-monitor ko itong mga anti-China propaganda. Well, again, itong isa worth mentioning is the top story of Business Mirror owned by the Kabangon Trust, if I'm not mistaken. Very pro-American po itong mga may-ari nito, lalo-lalo yung ama na yumao na, si, anong full name ni Kabangon Trust? But anyway, he passed away already. I think he was a military reservist also, no? Si Antonio Kabangon Trust, yeah. But Business Mirror, no? I know the editor of Business Mirror. I think she is actually a progressive. She was a leftist, I think, before. I'm not completely sure. Si Chuchay Fernandez, but I don't know her orientation. But of course, she's compelled to come out with these reports if it's coming from the publisher, the owner. And top story ng Business Mirror now is the China legacy. Ito ay a report on retired Commodore Romy Ong, lecturer. He is also a part of the Ateneo School of Good Government, which is funded by the Kennedy School of Government of the United States of America. So itong may apelyido pang Chinese ang ginagamit ng Amerikano dito sa propaganda nila, shameless propaganda. And sinasabi ngayon dito sa ulat tungkol kay Romy Ong's speech, the China legacy about aggression ng China and so on, Ayungin Shoal, and misinforming the public about this issue, that it is a complex issue of 5-6 countries in the region around the South China Sea competing for claims, and so on. So, and then another second item, propaganda, second in their lineup of news, sa world news naman, widespread loss of confidence in real estate seen straining China's economy, which is completely false. But mapapansin po din ninyo sa social media, nilalabas ito from different angles. So this is just part of the American propaganda against China. And of course, yung issue dito naman sa Pilipinas, yung funding for the railway projects, South Luzon, long haul, malalaking projects po ito na ginagawang issue yung 3% interest rates na hinihingi ng China, which really is no problem. If you find cheaper loans, you go to them. Kung Japan really has cheaper loans, you get from Japan. But actually po, meron pong lumalabas na inuulat daw ang Japanese loan is yen loan, is 0.5% interest rates. Hindi po complete story yan. Sa Sri Lanka, ganyan ang maraming nami-misinform about Sri Lanka's debt to Japan. Kala nila 0.5%. That is yen loan. When that yen loan is converted into dollars, it is 3.5 to 4%. Yan ang mga hindi pinapaliwanag, yan ang mga complexities na hindi nililinaw po ng ating media or in the Western media, and we have to do research to find this out. So, well, nandiyan na si Kado, and Kado also has two very strong points in Facebook now. He posted one criticizing Cesar Chavez for his announcement about vociferous announcements about the China loans sa railway projects, and yung kay Ricky Manalo, in support of Bobby Tiglaw's observation, na sabi ni Bobby Tiglao, after 6 years, naniniwala pa yung iba dyan sa hoax ng arbitration. Of course, the hoax angle, Kadyo, so you will remember, I think we came out with our post in 2017. We already called it a hoax at that time, and I think we can show this image now, our first image, no, Ka Joshua, where we said, of course, this is a bit satirical na sinabi natin na dyan sa balloon ng image na yan, na itong arbitral tribunal, binayaran natin ng mga Amerikanong abogado ng 350 million pesos. Overall, 767.72 million paid to including the arbitration panel members, and all told, it's around 1 billion pesos na COA at that time was already saying that they are questioning it. So, and sinabi nga natin, nilagay natin sa bibig in a balloon nung si U.S. Attorney Paul Reichler. Thanks for the 350 million pesos. Hope the Filipinos won't know it's a hoax. Yan. You were you were quite harsh on Ricky Manalo in your posts FB. Although I interpreted Manalo's statement simply as a reiteration of the ill-advised, wrong-headed official DFA position on the matter. No? So I was kinder to Ricky Manalo, but you were really harsh. Is it because kilala mo personally and you expected more from Secretary Enrique Manalo?
Well, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat mga kabansa. Kasamang parte ng mundo kayo naroon. Nandito kami sa GTNR, alas 8:19 po ng umaga dito sa Pilipinas. Medyo disappointed ako because unang-una, isa na naman itong departamento ng nagyayayak-yak. No? Nabubuisit ako dito sa mga cabinet people, secretaries, undersecretaries, na bago pa lang, wala pang 100 days to ating Pangulo, pinapahamak na nila. Bakit ba hindi sila tumahimik muna? Nangangapa pa Pangulo natin Bagong-bago. At may mga sarili silang mga interpretasyon na pinangungunahan nila ating Pangulo. Sila ay unelected. And the people who elected our president is 32 million. Kaya hindi ako dito sa mga cabinet assholes na ito na nangunguna pa sa ating Pangulo. The president is the chief architect of our foreign policy. And especially on the issue of the South China Sea. Pwede ba mag-no comment muna kayo in deference to the president? Nag-aaral pa yan Farmer. At inaamin naman niya, he's very honest about it. In agriculture, for instance, he said, I'm still studying the tarification. Sabi niya. In other words, wala pa siyang stand on it, no? So, huwag tayo mag-speculate on the basis of the past administration na may mga pagkukulang in foreign affairs, in energy, and in agriculture. Pagka tinanong dapat dito, ako'y more than anybody else, somebody who has a background, impeccable background in the United Nations, no? A working knowledge of Europe because he was assigned to some countries there. And Washington, D.C., I served with him. Ako, press attaché, siya first secretary for economic affairs. No? Itong stepson lang pala ito ni Rosario Manalo, Mentong. Hindi pala ito tunay na anak. Had better protect his career by knowing when to speak, and not just aping American lines. Bigyan natin ng pagkakataon ng ating Pangulo. Doon ako nainis na meron na siyang communicate kagad at nagpupubliko itong mga ito. Hindi pa nga natin alam The president has 100 days to formulate the basic policies of this country. Eh hindi, nauna na yung isang Deputy National Security Advisor, an item that does not even exist. Ha? Ang meron dyan, yung sa Secretariat lang ng National Security Council, may pre-promote na niya ang sarili niya. Director General lang po ang deputy. Director General, in fact, ang secretary, ang National Security Advisor. At siya rin ang Director General ng National Security Council. Deputy Director General lamang ang pwesto dyan. Pangunguna, Diyos ko, nagbigay na ng, kung gusto niya ng mga human rights, palipat siya sa Commission on Human Rights. No? Eh, binabaril lang, pinasasabog nga ng mina, ng IED, ang ating mga sundalo. Anong gusto nila? Ha? Human rights, binabaril sila, yung may usapang barilan o usapang human rights? Pangalawa, yung red tagging, pati yung Secretary of National Defense, mukhang ilipat na sa Commission on Human Rights mga tao na yan. Ito ay mga tao na pumapatay ng ating mga sundalo, nagbibitbit ng armas, lumalaban sa gobyerno para palitan violently ang ating gobyerno. And you are like pussycats addressing these people. These are dangerous people. These are dangerous people who, for the past almost 50 years or more, have already infested. Kaya hindi tayo umunlad-unlad. Diretsahan na tayo dahil wala tayong peace and order sa bansang ito. Bakit tayo walang peace and order? Kasi pati ang enforcement ng batas, pinupoliticize ng mga politiko. At yung 30 years of Cory Aquino to Noynoy Aquino, lumago. Pinatay na yung halos patay na yung Communist Party of the Philippines at saka yung NDF ni Presidente Marcos. Binigyan buhay uli nila, pinapatay uli natin. We went a full circle just to do the same thing again. Katulad ng laban natin sa mga oligarch.
Okay, si JC.
I-nationalize na ito mga important industry. Balik na naman.
Okay.
Dito sa $7 million na $350 million pesos plus at legal fees lang po ito. Umabot sa 767 million, sabi ni Mentong, all told. Pati yung sweldo ng mga adjudicators, no? Ng mga arbitrators, pinasahod ho natin yung mga yon. I hope Pepe Calida, the new COA chief, will revisit this comment.
Okay. Si Kaana nag-Viber, sabi niya, I will try to join in a while. Napuyat, thanks. Kasi nga may party kagabi. Ako naman umalis ng maaga. Celebration po ng ilang mga kaibigan, sponsored by George C. Doon sa isang bagong restaurant sa Makati, Tiabur Shore, something like that. But of course, I had an excuse kasi senior citizen na ako, so pwede ako mag-excuse ng maaga. Pero it was a very good discussion also while I was there. And nag-parting words ako na sabi ko, this is the end of the age of 500 years of imperialism. 10 years ago, they used to tell me to go back to China. Now I tell them, yung mga inaaway tayo na may Spanish, European, American, British family names, you go back to Europe. This is the Asian century. We will make a better world out of the world that you despoiled for 500 years. We Asians will make a better world for Africans, Latin Americans, and everybody, because we will create a world of peace and prosperity with the help of China. to everyone in the world with the Belt and Road Initiative and so on. Kaya nga hanggang ngayon itong mga Amerikano at yung kanilang mga tuta dito sa Pilipinas patuloy na paninira po sa cooperation with China. Well, we'll have more as we go along. No? The second item that we scheduled is yung magandang larawan ng fingerprinting itong US Peace Nobel laureate, no, na si Maria Ressa. Ayan po thank you kay Anthony Sumagui whose post I used. No? Of course, this picture is all over social media. And mukhang nabasa ko, Kaado, I don't know if you have been following, nabasa ko sa isang post na hindi lang 6 years or 15 years ba itong magiging kulong ni Maria Ressa. We'll get an update from Ka Joshua if he also noted these reports. No? And yan, in connection with that too, si Amal Clooney ay itong Amerikanong, actually Amal Clooney is Arab, no? Asawa ni yung artistang George Clooney ba, na Amerikano. Kinokondena yung Court of Appeals decision upholding Ressa's conviction. What do you know about the issues here, Amal Clooney?
Yes,
Ang alam mo lang, yung bayad sa iyo ng American CIA, MED, and whatever the sources of your funding is, and you do not know anything about the case here in the Philippines. Ka Joshua, you're there ba? I heard your voice.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
here na po. I'm here. Yeah, so yung unang image is Ressa getting a fingerprint doon sa nauna niyang no? Kasi ang dami niyang kaso eh. She's a criminal talaga eh. Ang dami niyang with tax evasion, ngayon cyber crime law, cyber libel. Ito naman yun nga, ang balita po kasi is yung Court of Appeals ay pinahaba yung sentence niya to a full 6 years, 6 years plus. Para kaya nga yung bansag sa kanya is no bail price, kasi
ganda yan no bail price. Okay.
Yeah, no bail price, no. Yun, so yung issue po kasi is kapag 6 years plus wala pong bail na pwede para
okay.
yes, yun po yung sa law na hindi naman alam ni Amal Clooney kasi una she's an American lawyer. Pangalawa, bawal siya mag-practice dito ng law. Kasi dun sa yung sa bar natin nakalagay is dapat yung mga nagpo-practice ng law nung 1946 and earlier na American is okay, which is of course she's not. And then pangalawa dapat dapat Filipino citizen, which she is not also. So yung arguments niya ay walang kwenta. Wala siyang arguments in the law. Wala siyang hindi siya pwede mag-file dito ng kaso, hindi siya pwede wala siya pwedeng gawin sa Pilipinas actually. Dahil sa kanyang American citizenship. Mga Amerikano nga yung mga nangingialam dito, imbis na mga Filipino ang mag-file ng kaso. Kung sino-sino ng mga international na yung problema kasi niyan is we have our own laws. Tayo ay sovereign na bansa. We have our own constitution na dapat sinusundan natin. Which Maria Ressa and yung outfit niya, Rappler, is not following. Lalo na yung Rappler, which is sinabi na ng Court of Appeals na nilabag yung foreign equity law sa mainstream, sa media, mass media.
Yeah, thanks for that update, Joshua. Mabuti, nandiyan ka at na-update naman ako na hindi ko na nakafocus dyan. But anong maidadagdag mo dito sa Clooney case, the Looney, sa tawag ng iba, and of course, dito kay Maria Ressa, mukhang talagang tameme na si Maria Ressa. Wala siyang argumento na at halatang halata, kabado siya sa mangyayari sa kanya. But I'm sure Ressa is safe in jail. Walang mangyayari po dyan ng mga ibang preso. Kaado?
Well, maraming tibo sa kulungan. So mag-enjoy siya doon. Kaya hindi naman siya ilalagay sa bilibid, lalagay siya rin sa women's correctional. So dadami pa ang subscriber ng Rappler sa loob ng women's correctional. Pero
Okay.
maraming tibo dyan. Ano yung tibo?
T-Bird. T-Bird.
Mga T-birds, ha?
Hmm.
Mga lesbians.
Mga tomboys daw.
Maawa ko sa girlfriend nito si mababakante ng 6 na taon. Padalaw-dalaw na lang. Marunong pala magpiano to. Si Maria Ressa.
Nagpapiano nga doon sa retrato.
Nagpapiano. Ito naman si Clooney. Pagbigyan na natin because she's just protecting an American citizen in the Philippines.
Good point.
Amerikano itong si Maria Ressa. Pero para naman insultuhin niya ating court system, ewan ko kung saan niya hinuhugot yan. No? At saka kung bakit may international legal team to si Maria Ressa, sobra talagang sila nakakapera din. Biski rito sa kasong to. Ha? Pinepera-pera talaga nila. Ha? I'm sure galing kay umidyar na naman ito. Itong mga pera-perang to. Maria Ressa po, by the way, admitted receiving not $1 million or $1.5 million for Rappler. In a television abroad, she had a slip of the tongue and she admitted that Rappler received $4.5 million. Hindi ho, this is not a laughing matter. No? In exchange for controlling Rappler's corporate decisions. But she is not in jail. She will not go to jail because of the Philippine Depository Receipt issue. She is going to jail here because of a private case which the government has nothing to do with. Sinasabi niya, the prosecutor daw, of course, because this is people of the Philippines versus Maria Ressa et al. Pagka file po ng criminal case, the complainant, kung may form and substance ang kaso, ay nagiging people of the Philippines versus the accused. And the accused here, hindi ko napapangalanan, is a private individual and the issue is cybercrime. Now, meron pa rin hong kaso si Maria Ressa and definitely she might spend the rest of her life in jail. No? Why? Because in the issue of the PDRs, nagkaroon ho ng tax problems. So yung mga atake ng Rappler kay Bongbong Marcos being for tax avoidance, which is not true because he paid his taxes, no? It's actually applicable to Maria Ressa because she and her corporation evaded paying the correct taxes insofar as the money is concerned. At mahaba pa hong kaso nito. Marami pang araw na dadalaw sa husgado itong si Maria Ressa dahil sa mga iba pang mga demanda na sinampa laban sa kanya na kriminal, mga kabansa. So yun po ang clarification dito.
Okay, so justice is served, and let us keep that in mind. Justice is served. Ang mga Amerikano ayaw ng hustisya para sa ibang mga bansa, ibang mga katauhan. And this is very important. Whatever we criticize about our present system, the fact is we are achieving a lot. And this is one of the primary achievements that we are able to achieve justice for Filipinos against those that were in the past. For the past 100 years, were protected by the Americans because they were doing the. Yeah. Go ahead, Kado.
The lawfare aspect here, Mentong, is that they are creating noise internationally with this international legal team because he's also an American.
Mm-mm.
And they
That's
will
right.
ask at some point for her extradition, which is impossible because this time her being a dual citizen is working against her.
Mm.
Ginamit niya yun na cloak in order to be part of this media organization, because all media organization in the country is supposed to be 100% owned by Filipinos. So she adopted, she had herself dually naturalized, no? So possible, but they're converting this into a political issue so that at some point in time ay mapadala sa US si Maria Ressa on the basis of her US citizenship. So that is what we are supposed to watch against.
Yeah. Sabi ni Brother Jerry dito, good morning po, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, buuin natin. Mga maestro, sana po ASAP ay mailagay ang inyong talk show sa RP1. Well, hopefully this coming week, itong mga araw na darating, I'll talk to the RP1 people, si first name ni Aportadera, who seems to be have been reinstated. So we will check this out. No?
Yeah, I already commented. I already sent a message to Viber message to Alan Alanig, the station manager, to kindly follow up our letter of intent, no? Because they asked us for a letter of intent to continue broadcasting.
Okay.
And we are just in the middle of a transition between two administrations.
Okay. So si Daldit Pasamonte is greeting us, Hazel A.S., Johnny Pereras, Nati Rivera, Rene Ranoa, Brother Jerry, Noel Rivera, Pers Arnaldo, Myla Adarne. I think there's a request here for to join the raffle. So let's have the raffle today with the choices. Yan po si Riza. Nandiyan na po. Is it flashed on our screens? Facebook?
I'll flash
check.
it.
Let's flash it. Very pretty Risa Sumawang. Over there wearing the watch from Huawei. We will send this photo to our donor, si Michelle Tang, to show that we have awarded one of the 5 watches that she donated to us. Congratulations ulit kay Riza Samawang. We'll schedule the next Huawei watch. We're looking for a historical date that we can raffle it off. Yan. So Riza, kailangan maglakad ka ng 10,000 steps a day. Divide mo into 3 and you count it with your watch. Morning, 3,000. Afternoon, 3,000. Before sleeping, another 3,000. Okay ka na. You will certainly be healthy and wealthy because health is wealth. Okay, tuloy po natin itong ibang mga issues. I was reading our names of friends, Parwan Villasuniga is with us. Ramon Dulay, good morning daw. BJ Walkin, good morning. Sandy Madriaga from Vancouver, Canada. BJ sabi ni Antonio Cabangon Swap. That's correct. That's the name of the owner. Hazel A.S., Delta Airlines, mahaba po ito, but I don't know the name, American Japanese, no honor, shameless, no accountability. Okay. Dindo Durano is with us. Rodel Calaksan, tama bang pronunciation ko? Albert Fermo, good AM daw. Luisa de la Cruz, we need a strong president with guts. That's right. Well, I think BBM, is a strong president, but very careful. And he hides that strength in his amiable demeanor. But he has to show those guts very soon, Anyway, BJ Wakenkado, I would think that Ambassador Rosario Manalo would have been a better DFA secretary than her son Enrique Manalo. Well, that's something to think about, But of course, retirable na talaga si Rosario Manalo and mahirap po yung mangyari yan. But I think the principle is really worth thinking about. Antonio Anthony, Americano, they think they are the best noon yun. we're brave enough to speak out for our country. That's correct. From Julie Merano, $50 Hong Kong. Thank you ulit, kaibigan Julie, our patroness. And of course, my offer to Julie and other OFWs coming in December, text us, communicate with us through our websites, and we will have a party. And maybe we will have a party for all our viewers. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we will try, because I would really like to meet everyone. Sila Kaato would like to meet everyone personally and say hello, shake hands, and discuss tayo in person. If it's 25 people, kayang-kaya natin siguro dito sa Valle Verde Country Club. If it's 100 people, we'll find a way. And we'll find some sponsors. Bea Payne is with us, U.S. Senator, also demanding to release De Lima po. Ayun. Itong mga nakikialam ng mga Amerikano. Lawrence Halpin is with us. Ninoy Aquino Day comments. Magbibigay ng Huawei watch. Ninoy Aquino Day. Well, we will see how we're going to do it. We'll find the day very soon. Okay. And dito sa kabila, si Graciano Coronel J.C. Tibahia. How do I pronounce it? Tibahia? Anong intonation po niya? Noel Mendoza, good morning daw. Reza Abisamis, yes po, natanggap ko na po. Okay, now we saw your picture. Okay, thank you. Reynaldo Pascua Pajarito. Good morning, Reynaldo. Ray. Loren Pascual, Alejandrino Pascual, Johnny Ferreras, kahit po siguro ipahingi ng Russia ang langis nila sa gobyerno ng Pilipinas, ay di mangyayari dahil pinagbabawal po sa batas natin na pumasok ang gobyerno sa industriya ng langis. We'll talk about that. It's part of our agenda. There is, may invitation na si Ka Joshua to join our raffle. Please mag-lista na po kayo. I think we can offer the list, in the list, the book of Mauro, Kaado, the LED lamp, itong libro ni biography ni Artemio Ricarte, we'll consider it as for a special day also. We'll study it. Edward Ricofort, Felice Porter is with us. Yung 75 cent? Okay, and Dads Camayo, good morning sa lahat. I'm one of your silent followers. Salamat po, Dads Camayo. Thank you very much for following our discussions, and I'm sure you also discuss the issues with your friends and family. Barrios Cornela is with us, and Isipino, is that correct? Igo Hitko. Putin is the best. Okay, we can discuss that also. We have, I think, one item on Russia. Lynn Cabrera, happy Sunday. Sabi ni Ressa Sumawang, ang dami pong mga vloggers na gustong sumikat. Every move ni PBBM ginagawa ng content. Maganda sana kung lahat positive ang ipinapakita. Support po ang kailangan ni PBBM, hindi puro batikos. Too early for that. Okay, and Antonio Carlos, Jose Carada, Wilma Ison, Acosta Ison, good morning. Jose Carada, pasali po sa raffle. Okay, Jaime Moreno, good morning po from, okay. May panawagan po si Ka Joshua to fill up the survey that is there, help us understand Philippine-China commercial relationship and perception. Benji Aguilar, nandito po. Jose Jaime Moreno, nabanggit na po natin. Anong comment niya? Itong mga hudas na ito, inililigtas kapwa hudas na dito ng gugulo sa bansa. Eyes and ears ng CIA at utusan para manligalig. This is my view. Mga bantay dyan, wag nyo ako pag-initan sa nasa loobin ko, sabi ni Jaime Moreno. Okay, Crescente Takardon, magandang umaga. Mac Coronel and sino pa po dito. Okay, we'll get back to this. Let's move on to the next agenda. Okay, itong itong pagpupulong at press conference ng NTFL-CAC. Napansin ko wala dito sa litrato si Romel Banlawi. I was going to ask AJ pero hindi pa ata nakakasali sa atin today si AJ, kasama AJ.
Baka hindi na pinapasok.
Ano?
Baka hindi na pinapasok.
Oo nga, maaari, that would be
Baka
very wise.
parang press eh.
Oo. Kasi yung susunod na item natin ay yung reaction ni kaamihan sa Gino, na isa sa mga ex-NPA, and sabi niya wag daw tayo attack, sabi ng isang unidentified person daw sa NTFL-CAC ngayon or sa National Security Agency. Merong isa diyan, sabi ni Kaamihan, Joy Kaamihan Sagino, merong isa diyan hindi pa nga na-brief about the national security matters. Ang dami nang sinasabi sa national TV at sa press, interview left and right, kung saan-saan. Kesyo, wala daw CPP, NPA recruitment sa UP. Masama daw ang labeling ng mga communists. As a former CPP, NPA leader who also returned to the fold of the law in 2020, I have always wanted to give this person the benefit of the doubt, as this person has just been appointed. But at the same time, in public service, it is far more better to listen than to talk a lot. Well, walang duda po na ang tinutukoy niya ay si Romel Banlawi, who really spoke too much too soon, which in connection to the next post po ni Kaado, nilabas niya talaga ang disgusto niya sa ilang mga undersecretaries, secretaries, and so on. Sabi ni Kaado, this government has USECs, undersecretaries, talking louder than their secretaries and the president. They should be shown the door. Ang idiom niyan, they should be shown the door, is isisante na yan. Ito ay reaction ni Kaado tungkol sa kay USECs Cesar Chavez sa Department of Trade. Sabi ni Kaado, went to town recently saying that China has canceled 3 major infrastructure projects. Well, Ana isn't in yet, but she wrote immediately a very early article in response, and ang pamagat ni Ana is withdrawn or renegotiation. Kasi nga, sinasabi nitong si Cesar Chavez na withdraw ng China, which is not true. Wala pong withdraw ang China. Ang nag-terminate, tulad nung termination ng oil and gas deal, ang ilang mga opisyales ng Pilipinas. We don't even know if President Duterte is aware of this, because the secretary can do this on his own, talk to the public, which is something very wrong about our political system. But anyway, sabi ni Ana, technically and substantially, China did not deliberately and categorically withdraw its support to the said railway projects. Rather, there was a withdrawal of the loan applications for the said railway projects on the part of the previous administration. Ang agarang reaction ko po dyan nung nabasa ko yung mga ulat tungkol kay Cesar Chavez, sabi ko pumapapel na naman si Cesar Chavez, nagka-grandstanding, ambisyoso po yan, pero former NPA po yan. Na nahuli ni retired General Mison, Salvador Mison, in Samar or Leyte. I'm not sure which province na, basta sa Bisaya po nahuli yan. Nagmakaawa, kasi yung ibang nahuli ata napatay, no? Nagmakaawa po to at inalagaan ni General Mison, ni rehabilitate, nabalik po sa mainstream society. Pero hindi natin masabi kung ano nangyari naman sa. Siguro na-absorb sobrang magaling yung political culture ng Pilipinas. Well, Kaado, I'll give you the floor kasi yung reaction mo dito sa post mo.
Well, ang malakas na reaction lang naman doon sa mga statements ni Banlawi ay yung sinabi niya na pwede kang, ipaparaphrase ko na para mabilis, pwede kang maging komunista at hindi ka naman pwedeng arestuhin o kulungin dahil kung hindi ka magbe-bear arms against the government. So he was making a distinction on the basis of the repeal of the anti-sedition law during the time of Fidel Ramos. And true enough, that distinction held, no? That distinction held until during the Duterte administration, and this is very important, mga kabansa, na intindihin yung mabuti, no? Na maaaring sa tao because of freedom of expression, his political beliefs, his political conviction, even for his political ideology. Kasi that distinction was made with the abolition of the anti-sedition law. Now, however, meron na hong bagong batas ngayon. Ito po ang anti-terror law. No? At ang nagdi-determine, ang Anti-Terror Council, ang nagdi-determine kung sino ang mga terrorist by definition of the law at sino hindi. And ang CPP, NPA, NDF po ay nakalista na dyan. So hindi po tama yung pagkakaintindi, very basic distinction na sinabi ng ating kaibigan natin ito si Banlawi, no? At and he has to be corrected on this because that is precisely wrong information, no? Wrong information, and it did not settle well with him because he was being appointed, according to him, to be a deputy with the possibility of a rank of a undersecretary. Tapos hindi niya alam yung basic na yun, na distinction sa batas. So, yun ang that raised a lot of eyebrows dito kay Banlawi. Dito naman kay Chavez, winidraw pala yung application eh. So, ngayon lang naman nangyari ito. Pwede namang hindi withdraw yung mga application na yan, no? Pwede naman yan. Pero I think the president was so cautious about, I don't know, the former president was so sensitive na yung mga hindi natapos ng kanyang cabinet during his time ay suspended animation muna until in deference to the incoming administration. But the problem here with Cesar Chavez is he gave so many details that were contradicting themselves. At ang media pinagpiestahan ito. Yung isa, kumuha lang ng kapraso, nilabas siya. Yung isa, nadampot sa media, nilabas lang yung kapraso ng kapraso. Until the Radyo Pilipinas itself. Tingnan po ninyo yung statement ng Radyo Pilipinas. Nandun lahat ang buong storya. So, hindi ho China ang nag-withdraw. Ang nag-withdraw po ng application in deference to the incoming administration was Dominguez himself, Secretary Dominguez himself. So let that be clear, no? Plus, the clarification that was made by Mentong kanina na ang 3% dito pinag-uusapan is based on, if I'm not mistaken, Mentong, dollar ba? Dollar, ano?
Dollar.
Dollar denominated itong loan. Sinasabi nila mas mura daw ang loan sa Japan, which is yen denominated, which when transferred from yen to dollar to peso will be actually more than 3%. Anything around 3%, mga kabansa, is a soft loan. Kaya wag masyadong ang dami kasi nakikialam yan, ang dami marurunong. At so anyway, isa pa, pinakahuling word ko dito, nagsalita na ang Pangulo. Hindi tuloy na lang ninyo negosasyon. Bakit kailangan pa pag-usapan sa publiko? Wala pa resulta. Anong resulta? Wala pa resulta eh. Ni here or there, ni ha, ni ho, wala pa resulta. Let us talk about results. Hindi yung mga inputs na ganyan that only shows how incompetent Chavez is when it comes to information. Ang bunga kasi niyan hindi mapigil eh. Kasi katulad natin, magkaroon din niya ng radio program eh. Nag-block time din yan eh. Kaya ngak.
Yeah. And magandang tiyempo po ni Maestra Ana Malindog Uy pumasok dito sa ating diskusyon dahil tiyempong-tiyempo ay ating pinag-usapan yung kanyang artikulo sa Asian Century Journal natin, withdrawn or renegotiation. I think this clarified a lot to a lot of people tungkol sa totoong mga impormasyon dito at totoong sitwasyon ng tatlong rail projects that was scheduled to be funded by China. Ana, tiyempong-tiyempong pasok mo and mapaliwanag itong mahabang artikulo mo na nagpapaliwanag ditong totoo dito sa bagay na to. Yung audio mo, Ana, parang naka-off pa. Wala pang audio. Wala pang audio, we're still waiting.
Yeah, naka-unmute na po siya. We're waiting po. She's fixing her audio po ata.
Okay.
Yeah, let's Mama Ana, talk when you can naman po.
Hello.
Yan, okay, malinaw na.
Kasi
Sandali, bago chismis muna, anong oras kayo natapos sa party at hindi ka nakagising ng maaga? Baka hating gabi na.
Oo nga, hating gabi.
Hating gabi na.
First time may lipat-lipat pa eh.
Lumipat kayo ng lugar pa?
Oo, as in, naglipat ng lugar. Nahiya akong umalis kasi nga syempre mga bagong friends at mga old friends. So parang sabi ko sige. So mga midnight or mga almost 1 a.m. na ako sinundo. Nagpasundo na lang ako. So medyo napuyat kasi pag uwi ko may tinapos pa ako. Hindi pa ako natulog eh. Pag uwi ko, may tinapos pa ako na nirarush na article din. So, ang bagong article ko kasi na kailangan ko i-rush is Multipolar World. A Philippine Independent Foreign Policy in a Multipolar World. So, lalabas yan today. It's more on geopolitics naman. So, kaya inaayos ko kagabi. Pag uwi ko, so medyo puyat ang dating ko kasi mga siguro roughly 3 a.m. na ako natulog.
So, yung bagong article mo sa ACJ din mababasa ng mga kasama natin?
Oo, mababasa din ng mga kasama natin. Pero maya-maya pa yon na mga gabi-gabi, mga alas 8 siguro.
Okay.
Kasi usually naman talaga, ang article ko, 8 o'clock ng Sunday lumalabas. Yung article na yan na renegotiation, withdrawn or renegotiation, special article siya. Kasi medyo na-shock lang ako na para bang okay. Totoo ba? Nauna ko kasing reaction, totoo ba na ang Chinese government ang nag-withdraw or there's something to this? So yun yung unang pumasok sa isip ko. So nag-isip ako. Tapos ang ginawa ko, I tried to check different sources na local newspapers. Yun nga, yung unang lumabas, withdrawn daw. Walang explanation. So pangalawa, parang withdrawn dahil parang hindi daw gustong i-fund o parang the Chinese government did not respond to the request for funding. Tapos nung pangatlo na article sa Philippine Star ko nakita, nagsalita ata si former Secretary Dominguez na sila ang nag-withdraw ng application for loans. It's precisely because of the interest rate daw na 3%. Kasi yung ibang mga China concession loan yan eh, hindi yan ODA kasi there's no kasi yun nga ang mahirap dito. before we even speak about these things, before we even say many things, I think ang maimportante is kailangan mo tignan ang ang pagkakaiba ng mga konsepto sa pananaw ng China at pananaw ng Western countries, no? Kasi magkaiba. Like for example, for China's perspective, there's no such thing as ODA talaga. Hindi nila ang Western countries, even Japan, mayroon silang tinatawag na ODA, Official Development Assistance. But China, wala silang ganun na perspective, out term na ginagamit. Ang sa kanila,
Kana, I'll just go to the CR. Tuloy-tuloy mo lang, ha?
Opo. Ang kanilang perspective is more on what you call concessionary loans or what you call preferential loans. Okay, yun yung ano nila. So ibig sabihin, kasi nga, ang China is not yet a first world country. It's a developing country. So ang konsepto nila is South-South cooperation and development. So it's not really that nagpapautang sila. It's much more magkasabay tayo mag-develop. We will try to help you, you try to help us. Mas ganon kasi para equal footing. Yun ang conception, yun ang perspective ng China. Kasi China, it's not yet considering itself as a first world kasi developing country pa rin yan. Even though
in other words, hindi ito north-south.
Hindi north-south. South-south yan na cooperation ang dating. So kapag nag-i-extend sila ng grant or nag-i-extend sila ng tinatawag na preferential loans, ibig sabihin, it's not as if like they're a first world country giving assistance to the rest of the world. No. Though they are the largest economy and actually they're really the economic front runner of the world at the moment kasi nga magaling ang kanilang palisiya when you talk about monetary policy, fiscal policy, and even when you talk about controlling the COVID-19. So, ganon. So, ang nangyari, from 2% sa mga previous projects na concession loans ng China at even, iba kasi yung grant, no? Kasi grant, wala talaga. Ano yan, hindi utang yan. Bigay lang yan. Eh. Pero sa concessionary loans or di kaya tinatawag ng preferential loans, nagkaroon ng a little increase doon sa ng 1% ang from 2%. Kasi previously, ang interest rates na binibigay or interest na binibigay is 2%. Like Kaliwa Dam is 2%, yung Davao Samal, it's 2%, no? Pero ang ano naman ng China, ang kaibahan ng China, do halimbawa, ang 2% niya, ang tagal mong babayaran, 20 years, 25 years. So, do medyo sabihin na natin may 3% ka na increase, ang maganda naman sa kanila, matagal na babayaran mo yung utang. Hindi siya yung tipong 5 years lang, 10 years. That is the difference, no? Sila, if you look at World Bank, IMF, or others, no? Pero sila is 20 years, pwede mo pang patagalin yan. Depende kasi sa negotiation. So yun yung kailangan nating isipin. Tapos yung ina-argue na 0.1% ng Japan na interest, ang sinasabi kasi nila, para gusto daw, sabi ni Chavez or ng ibang mga officials na ibaba daw nila ng China ang interest sa 3 railway project. Kasi ang Japan, 0.1% daw para maging competitive. Ang kaso, ang problema, nagbago ang sitwasyon kasi ang Federal Reserve ng US is increasing its interest rates. No? Drastic ang increase ng interest rate. Lahat ng bangko, kapag nagkaroon ng move ang US, when you talk about interest rates, nagtataas din ang interest rates. Even World Bank and Asian Development, that's the trend talaga. So parang nangyari, in-adjust din ng China Exim Bank. Exim Bank kasi yan Export-Import Bank. Ang kanilang interest rate to 1%. Kasi nag-a-adjust din sila sa kalakaran ng buong mundo. Kasi malulugi din sila We have to think of a fact na though nagbibigay sila ng tulong sa developing world, being a developing country, they also have to take note na kailangan din nila mag-adjust kasi in the very first place, mawawalan din sila ng capital. So in a way, pero sinasabi nga nila na nakausap ko kasi ang some of the people who are expert as well in this issue, but they are the Chinese counterparts. Nasabi ko sa mga friends ko, anong nangyari? Sabi nila, actually, technicalities lang yan. It's just so happen na nagbago ng administrasyon. So, nagbago ang administrasyon. So, pwede naman i-renegotiate yan ngayon sa bagong kay Marcos presidency. Kasi tapos na ang Duterte presidency. So, pwede silang mag-usap na even that technicality na 3%, the way they see it, technicality lang yan pwede rin naman i-renegotiate yan. Baka mamaya, sabi nila, sa pag-uusap ni President o yung mga gobyerno ngayon na officials, maayos yan at bumaba. Depende na yan sa pag-uusap kasi nga, bago yung gobyerno. Ang ginawa naman ng previous government na according to Secretary Dominguez, is tawag nito, sinasabi niya, to give leeway to the next administration, withdraw nila para ngayon, i-resubmit nila, sila na mag-usap. Kasi mahirap naman mag-decide ang previous government, patapos na sila. No? Kasi ang deadline na binigay natin is hanggang May 30 ba? Basta May 2022. So after ng May, i-withdraw natin kasi nga patapos na talaga si Pangulong Duterte. So ngayon, ang ano lang talaga ngayon is resubmit those an application for loans, then renegotiate. Ganon lang 'yon.
Okay.
Ang problema lang natin dito sa Pilipinas, yung mga bagay na yan kasi tulad ng sinasabi ni Kaado, this should not be anymore discussed as if it is like really a public issue sa national security. No, dapat kasi ang mga ganitong usapan, inaayos mo na lang sa gobyerno. Hindi ka na dapat nagkikreate pa ng unnecessary noise, unnecessary emotions among Filipinos that will actually make the situation worse. Kasi kapag maingay tayo ng maingay, syempre mapipikon din yung mga tao sa kabila na parang ano ba, bakit niyo ba masyadong ginagawang sobrang issue to na on our disadvantage, yung China, no? Kasi parang sa kanila, hindi siya malaking issue na sobrang malaki. Sa kanila, it's a matter of renegotiation, it's a matter of technicality na pwedeng maayos. Ang tanong, bakit nasa public debate when in fact hindi pa siya tapos at pending yan? At saka ang tanong, nagsabi na ang presidente mo o sige na, renegotiate mo yan, tignan natin kung ano mangyayari. Let's have other option if in any case. So bakit nagiging hype siya? Yun yung lagi kong iniisip. Why is it that Filipinos are very used to this? Gustong-gusto natin lagi may kontrobersya. Alam mo yun, hindi siya nakakatulong even with our relation with other countries.
Ayan ang mga Ana, before we go to Kaado. Yan ang ginagawa, yan ang role ng mga inquirer, rappler, at iba pa. Ang headline ng inquirer death trap avoided. Ano death trap dito? Walang death trap dito, pero yun ang pakay nitong mga destabilizers sa media natin. But let me also let me add this lang.
Yung death trap na concept na hindi naman totoo. Yung death trap na concept, it's not really true. Kasi kahit mga propaganda, they need to study very well yung mga cases of Sri Lanka. It's not as if it's just all about debt. No, it's all about governance. Hindi masamang umutang as long as you have good governance and you know how to use that utang in a productive way. Ang problema lang, nagiging negative ang impact ng utang kung ang ginagawa ay hindi yan na ito channel into a productive activity that gains revenue at nakukurap yan. Kaya nga, ang governance, good governance, strong safety net is very important. Kasi pag umutang ka, ginagamit mo yan dapat, ini-implement mo yung project, whatever, nag-generate ng revenue for you to be able to pay. That's the concept. Yun. Huwag tayong maging masyadong na isolated ang analysis. No. There's a lot of factors that you have to consider before you even have a conclusion na may death trap because there's no such thing. Yun.
Okay. Before we go on this matter, of course, yung death trap ng Sri Lanka is more complex than what the Western media and our mainstream media is trying to project. Unang-una doon sa discussion yun ni Dan Steinbach sa IDSI seminar, pinaliwanag ni Dan Steinbach, and it's very important that Sri Lanka was subject to the destabilization of the Americans and India for many decades, kaya yung economy nito bagsak na bagsak before. And diyan sa death trap about the Hambantota port, very clear, as you also know, and you've reported, Ana, ang mga Canadians ang nagsimula niyan. There were 2 studies that said it's feasible, it's profitable over time, and so on. Pero lahat yan hindi pinapaliwanag kasi binabansagan nga na death trap country ang China. Ayun ang headline ng Inquirer, so we can see. But we'll discuss that a bit more. I just want to add this point about the Japanese yen loan.
Yeah,
sinasabi, mababa, 0.5% lang. Nakakasindak.
0.1 daw.
Merong 0.1, But ito from Sri Lanka, sabi dito na paliwanag, because of a planned swap of the loan into US dollars, the actual borrowing cost may be closer. Sabi nga sa Sri Lanka, 0.5% ang Japan. But after it is swapped to dollar, which will happen,
convert.
it will be closer to 3.5 to 4% according to Sri Lanka Finance Minister, owing to currency transactions. Yan.
Yes,
So,
kasi
yes, Kaana, go
yeah,
ahead.
kasi ang sinasabi nila mababa interest rate, but we have to take a look at the fact na ang loan from Japan is denominated or pegged in yen. And if you look at Japan's economy, it's in recession at the moment. Ang value ng yen is mababa vis-a-vis the dollar. So, ang yen kasi, kino-convert mo yan kasi ang kalakaran sa mundo is in US dollars. So, ang loan mo in yen, it has to be converted kasi it's into dollars. Pag na-convert na yan into dollars, if you really study it and compute everything, mataas pa actually at mas lugi ka actually kasi bumababa ang value ng loan mo kasi nga weak ang yen eh. Yun.
Yeah.
Yun yung mga dapat nating tingnan. Hindi yung tipong, 0.1, okay na. Mamaya, sandali. Try to digest it and try to look at it deeper. Kasi face value lang yan eh. Hindi mo alam yung nitty-gritty. So, mahirap mag-compare na 0.1%, 0.5% lang ang Japan in terms of their ODA or concession or whatever loans is that. And dito sa kabila is 3% or 2%. Ay, mahirap po yan. Hindi po ganun ang comparison dyan. May malalim na pagtingin dyan. Yun. Kaya para hindi tayo mag-create ng unnecessary noise na parang naaano yung mga tao eh. Nagkakaroon ng, alam mo yun, na napo-confuse ang mga tao.
Sinasadya nga yan ng mga ilan. Tulad ng Inquirer, sinasadya yan. Sabi dito ni BJ Waken or Wakin, Chavez wants to show his relevance but failed miserably.
Yes.
And then Hazel ASD ko na sure kung anong nangyayari kung misquote or misinterpreted or misstated siya. That's true. That's again ang may kasalanan dyan ang media natin. Ano? And sabi ni Waynina Cruz, Kaana kasi lahat gusto mag-react. No? Yes, Parwan, may mga let's see this. Jose Carada, narinig ko minsan sa programa ni Senator JV na pagkaiba ng loan sa Japan at China. Sa China daw may business din sila kasi dapat sa kanila daw ang labor, sa Japan hindi. Well, depende din yan sa kontrata. Depende din yan sa negotiation. Hindi tulad
depende
po nung
sa technology.
Yes, depende sa technology at yung pangangailangan ng ekonomiya nila. Halimbawa, ang Japanese tunneling machine idle na, kaya sila ay nagtulak ng programa na yung subway sa Makati, for example. So yan ang mga iba't ibang mga factor.
Hindi rin tama 'yun, no, na ganun ka black and white. If you look at Japan's loans in other countries, especially like for example African countries, you have to take a look at that and do some research. Ang nangyayari doon din is, okay, ito yung loan na bibigay namin sa'yo, pero sa amin yung labor, sa amin yung ganito, sa amin manggagaling lahat, blah, 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 blah. May ganun din. May ganun din silang ginagawa. It really depends first and foremost sa country. It depends on negotiation. It depends kung saan ang gagaling yung loan. Kasi sa China, diversified ang loan portfolio nila. There are banks, Exim Bank, may mga kasi maraming sources of funds. So depende sa institution kung paano sila gumagalaw. So you have to take a look at the institution, the financial institution. At depende sa negotiations din ng country. At depende kung saang kontinente ka. Ganun yan eh. Oo.
So, Kaado, you're going to add?
Well, kaya mag-ingat tayo mga kabansa sa paghihimay ng mga balita dahil maraming bayaran sa ating media. Kanina, nag-discuss na natin ang raffle, no? Yan ang pinakamalaking bayaran. And operation din po dito, yung nag-operate na naman ng regime change sa Sri Lanka, yung National Endowment for Democracy. So, ang Sri Lanka nagkaroon ng National Endowment Disease. No? Kaya natanggal yung kanilang Pangulo. Ayun, may bago na naman sila rong kalakaran, nagkakagulo sila. Ngayon, paano nila ginagawa ito? Ang tawag po dyan sa practice ng journalism, anggulo. Inaanggulo ho nila na may mapasama. Miski na neutral lang ang impormasyon, hindi nila isusulat ang balita according sa mga facts, kundi sa anggulo nila. No? Katulad nito, yung pag ang yen po ay kinumbert sa dollar, it will lose value. Alam niyo po ba, ang 10 lapad ngayon ay hindi na dati yan 50,000 pesos. Ngayon 40,000 pesos na ho yan. Ganun ho kalaki ang nawala sa yen, sa peso. So when the yen loses value against the dollar and then the dollar is converted to peso, the peso loses
Value.
Kaya yung 3% ng China, kumbaga, ay nagiging 4.5% na po pag yen ang ginamit. Pangalawa po, ang China usually does not charge for feasibility study.
Yes.
Ang feasibility study po ng Asian Development Bank, ng World Bank, milyon na po yan. Hindi pa nagsisimula ang project. Sasabit pa lang sa NEDA. Nagkakaroon na ng kaya tumatagal, mas matagal ho iproseso ang mga American loans and ibang foreign countries that relies on official development funding. Ngayon, yung dinidiscuss naman ni Kaana, iba ho ang China eh. Kung tutuusin ninyo, pag tinawas ninyo, kung ilan lang ang overseas development assistance projects ng Pilipinas, sa Pilipinas ng China, lalabas lang ho na baka 5 ang ongoing or completed Chinese na projects because of OECD development assistance, no? Pero bakit ang dami nating project na nakikita? Dahil po ang China, marami pang ibang perang dinadala sa Pilipinas in the form of special purpose vehicles, SPV, foreign direct investment at saka flexible capital. For instance po, ang Chinese investment under Duterte is the extent to which FDI, foreign direct investment, is a major vector for state funding. Pera po ng gobyerno ng China. Now, how do they do this? The Chinese state facilities, big FDI projects, by hosting high-level meetings and making Chinese funding available to firms. Ang mismong gobyerno po nagpapahiram sa mga firms, mga private companies. Ang private companies po ang pumapasok sa Pilipinas. And then they also have what you call the flexible capital, no? The rise of China as a global power has been accompanied by a simultaneous surge in the number of Chinese billionaires. Yung pong bilyonaryo, mga itsik mayayaman na ang kanilang bilyon-bilyon ay lumalabas na sa tenga, they find the Philippines because of our friendship with China, the country. In recent years, the sources of capital accumulation, export manufacturing, heavy industries, no? Infrastructure, construction, ayan po. Diyan po dumagaan po the Chinese millionaires. So, samantalang ibang bansa, wala silang access sa pagpupondo dito sa ating bansa, kundi yung tinatawag na official development assistance.
Well, Kado, suffice it to say na maaareglo po yan ni Presidente BBM with China after the negotiations. So there's no problem. If there is a cheaper loan, I'm sure PBBM will go to the cheaper loan. If it's Japan that will offer it, doon siya pupunta. Huwag po tayong mag-alala at huwag po tayong maniwala dito sa mga headlines ng Inquirer na death trap and so on. Panggugulo lang po yan.
Mayroon pang isang tawag nito si Congressman Salceda at yun magsabi na because of this daw, the Philippines will be looking for a new friend. Sabi ko, sino ang ilulook for a new friend mo kung tutusin? If you look really at the world at the moment, may new friend ka bang mahanap na mag-finance ng lahat nating kailangan? Take a look at the Western Europe and take a look at the United States. It's suffering from 9.1 inflation rate in the last 40 years. Yan ang first time nila in 40 years. Pangalawa, their interest rates, they're trying to hike it up. Pag hinike mo yung interest rates, ang problema dyan, yung buong developing world magsasuffer kasi bumababa ang presyo, ang strength ng currency ng ibang bansa dahil tinataas nila ang strength ng currency nila, ng US dollar. Pero tayo, like the peso, will be weakened. Problemang malaki yun. Pero sa kanila, pero ang tanong, pag ganun sila ng ganun, darating ang point na magkakaroon niya ng stagflation. Kasi bakit? Lower economic growth yan eh. Kasi lower ang economic activity mo dahil mataas nga interest rate mo. Nagtataasan din yung mga bangko ng interest. Ganun yan eh. So, saan ka maghahanap ng new friend right now? Ang Europe na, ang Germany nga ngayon eh. Pag hindi inopen ang gas pipeline ng Russia, baka mag-collapse ang economy ng Germany.
That's right.
Yun eh. We need to be very pragmatic and practical about these things. No?
Okay.
10 ASEAN countries ang nagpunta na mag-summit kay Biden because
Kaya
they want to establish a new friendship with Biden. Ang pabaon sa kanila ni Biden, 150 billion lang. 150. No? At tapos may kulatilya pa, yung 40 to be spent sa infrastructure at yung 60 to spend in joint patrol of the South China Sea. Sira ulo talaga ng mga bagong friends kaya.
Okay, point of information lang.
New friend.
Point of information lang, ito po pinadala ni Gilbert Joaquin. Natanggap na niya yung yung LED fan donated by Jerry. I don't know if it can be shown on the screen. So thank you, Gilbert Joaquin, for taking the time to take a photo and report it to us. Thank you very much. At we also request those who receive their books to take a photo and send it to us so we can have a collection of all these photos. Anyway, sabi ni Bea Payne, most Dilawan people are in Marcos administration. To God, they should be retained. Patria Ibay, good morning. Suggestion lang po, mag-virtual background na lang po kayo ng GTNR. Mas maganda po. Okay, Ka Joshua, can you study that proposal? And from Maynina de la Cruz, converted to dollar kasi tama ho kayo. Kaana, pag bibili ka ng dolyar, mas mataas talaga sa ngayon. Brother Jerry, sabi niya, please create a short video sa channel na pong ito from this live discussion explaining the China loan at Japan loans. So, Ka Joshua, maraming napapasa tayong trabaho kay Ka Joshua. May bagong kasama, katulong si Ka Joshua, si Steven, Okay. And sabi ni Hazel A.S., napanood ko yung interview ni Kaana sa CGTN channel. That's good, And tama po kayo, Kaado. Kaya pro-China ako at pro-Russia, sabi ni Parwan Villazuniga. Okay, and let's listen to the other friends of ours. From Darwin Castro, good morning. Okay. James Moreno, tuta kasi yung Salceda, matagal ng tuta yan sa mga balita, fake news pala, ayun. And then we have Sebzeb Ilas, good morning mga kabansa. Green Ace, ano ba ito? Green Ace Gardens, meron din dito, since 75, thumbs up ba yun? Okay, let's move on. We have already reported I'm checking the time kasi meron tayong raffle. It's only 9:26, so we'll do the raffle at 9:45. Okay, in next very controversial issue dito sa Pilipinas ay yung pagbibili ng diesel from Russia. Mayroon na akong mga nabasa tulad ni John Mangun ng Business Mirror. Hindi daw magagawa yan dahil wala tayong refinery, wala tayong storage. Ulol. We have storage, empty storage in Subic, yung mga tinayo ng mga Amerikano for their battleships and aircraft carriers and so on, na mga huge tanks for storage of fuel. It's there. Number 2, hindi daw pwede dahil wala tayong refinery. Bakit kailangan mo pang refinery? Russian diesel na nga, tulad ng ginawa ng Brazil. Brazilian President Bolsonaro says discounted Russian diesel could begin arriving in 60 days. This was reported on July the 12th. So by July, August, September, meron na silang discounted Russian diesel. At dito naman sa next news item natin, Russian oil arrives in Cuba as Moscow finds alternative buyers for its shunned supply. Dati kung saan-saan sa ibang lugar na mas malapit pumipili ang Cuba, pero ngayon na may discounted galing sa Russia, doon sila kumukuha. Bakit hindi magawa ng Pilipinas yan? Dahil may mga torpe o may mga bayaran ng mga Amerikano na sinasabi, hindi po kaya ng Pilipinas. Merong mga bayaran ng oligarchs, oil oligarchs na sinasabi, hindi natin magagawa yan. Huwag po tayong maniwala sa kanila.
Alam mo ba,
yes, Ado, go ahead.
Kulang din sa political will at saka
Yes.
part of the blame should also go into the transition from one administration to other and the competence of Alfonso Cusi as the past Department of Energy Secretary. Wala siyang plan B, wala siyang plan C, wala siyang plano.
Well, hindi mag-iiba kay Lotilla. Hindi mag-iiba yan kay Lotilla.
Precisely. Alam mo ba, Mentong, I know of one cooperative who is authorized by law and by its bylaws to directly import from abroad. It can be done by cooperatives. Bakit hindi magawa nito? Now, time is ticking here. I think, bago ma-solve itong mga problema ito, I would like to suggest to BBM, no, to send a special envoy. Hindi mo kailangan maghintay pa ng isang DOA secretary na malinis o acceptable sa mga tao. Hindi na niya kailangan si Ricky Manalo. Mag-send na siya ng special envoy para i-negotiate ito. During the time of President Marcos, ang special envoy ni President Marcos was the First Lady. Pantala niya si Sara Reta ron para wala nang masyadong cheche-bureche at saka bureaucracy. What could be faster? Naunahan na tayo ng Brazil. At ito hindi na kailangan i-refine dahil diesel na. Naunahan na tayo ng Cuba. Bakit? Yung ambassador mismo na ng Russia nagsasabi, okay, let's do it. So just do it.
At saka, tama si Kaado din. It's a matter of will. If there's a will, there's a way. Ganun lang yan. Wala na yung mga dami pang etching na independent foreign policy, hindi daw kasama dyan. Nagtitip-to tayo na baka magalit daw, isa-sanction daw tayo ng US at saka ng Western countries dahil, we should be under. My God, what do you think of Brazil? Is Brazil not an ally of the United States to some extent? 50-50 din ang Brazil, Good sila sa Western, good din sila sa mga tulad ng China. But still, they have the political will to do something for their own country and for their own interest. India is the same. India is even part of Quad. Diba? Pero saan kumukuha ng pagkalimpak-limpak na oil supply, gas supply ang India? Russia. Precisely because that's the pragmatic thing to do for your own country. You need to think of your own country first before you think of others. Ganun lang yan kasimple.
Let's listen to Ka Joshua. Go ahead.
I-add lang natin who is taking advantage po ba. So ngayon, who is taking advantage? Let's read. Oil-rich Saudi Arabia doubles import of discounted Russian fuel. So
isa pa yan.
Lumalangoy na sa langis, yung hindi na kailangan pang bumili ng langis, lumalangoy na sila. Umangat yung bansa nila dahil sa sobrang daming langis ay bumibili pa ng langis sa Russia dahil sa discount. Yun po yung ginagawa po nila. At kumikita po sila. At another deeper layer would be, kung bumibili sila ng discounted oil, ano yung binibenta nila sa other countries? Kasi sila din yung prime exporter, yung top exporter ng oil, So, yung binibili na ng discounted Russian fuel, binibenta rin nila. So, yung kumikita po talaga is Saudi Arabia. Paano naman po yung tayong Pilipinas? Paano naman po yung ibang bansa,
Joshua, I'll come in at this point to try to point out who the real enemies are in our society. Of course, katatapos lang ng eleksyon, ang kalaban ay sila Robredo, Pero sila, Robredo, ba ang talagang kalaban? Hindi po. Ang mga oligarchs po, ang Ayala na may hawak ng Shell, si RSM na may hawak ng Petron, and so on and so forth. Yan ang mga nagmamanipula. Nagtataya sila kay Robredo, nagtataya sila kay BBM. And so that is why we're hoping BBM will stiffen his spine and really work for the people in this case. However, we already see the appointment of Lotilla, who is an aboitisman. Oligarch, tao ng oligarchy yan. Hindi magbabago from Kusi. Si Kaado has a special dislike of Kusi. That same dislike should also go to Lotilla because ganyan din po yan. And we will go into these finance managers na na-appoint na yan because they are the same. They are all tools of the bankers and the oligarchs. Tulad nitong si Diokno, na nandun ngayon sa Department of Finance, taking over from Sunny Domingo. We supported Duterte, but we didn't really believe Sunny Domingo will be the best. But ito po, in the time since the past 2 years na kulang ang trabaho para sa ating mamamayan, ano sabi ni Diokno? Yung POGO daw, pull out will have little impact on the economy. Yan ang kagaguhan po nito mga to. At least 60,000 jobs were lost diyan sa paglisan ng mga pogos sa bansa, And itong sa COVID-19, of course, 400,000 OFWs or up to 1 million may have lost their jobs. 2 million workers lose jobs as COVID-19 quarantine measures continue, and so on and so forth. Jobs are the fundamental of fundamental importance to our economy and our people. And in the present situation, ito ay July 11, 2022 lang, it is reported that the informal sector is swelling. Jobs data suggests. So these are just evidence to show everyone na jobs ang kailangan natin. Hindi yung attitude nitong si Diokno. But Diokno is only concerned about his own job. Now, earning 5 million a month, I don't know how much. 20 million a year at least. Plus pa yan. Now they're talking about right-sizing the government. Yung magbabawas para right-size daw, sobrang bloated lang. Government right-sizing may affect 2 million workers according to the Manila Times. Of course, we know that. And then from Business Bureau, abolish the Senate instead. Some people are saying since the past pa, ito ay from 2018 pa. House leaders renew push for by unicameral legislature. How much per senator? 250 million a year, 500 million. And of course, we have been reporting the Senate should stop the 8.9 billion building construction. So there is a call na ang right sizing ay sa top ng gobyerno at hindi po sa baba at sa gitna ng gobyerno, which I agree to and I support. Kahit na sabihin natin maraming palaboy doon sa mga contractual and so on, this is the time they need the jobs. Even this, if it's just to support them, but the key is to make them effective and make them work. Pero itong mga senador at maraming kongresista ay wala pong silbi, pero half a billion a year ang ating binibigay ng mga panggastos nila. Tulad din ito, and I put this in because personal na alam ni Kaado yung experience with this Banker of the Year awardee na si Bobby De Ocampo, na ang tawag ko ay Bobo De Ocampo. Kasi po ito yung 1998, nag-warning na ako sa kanya, sila Butch Valdez and so on, matatamaan ng matinding financial crisis ng Pilipinas because of the Bangkok crisis and the Asian financial crisis. Sabi ni Bobo De Ocampo, hindi yan mangyari, matibay tayo. Ay bumagsak po ang ating piso from, I think, 38 at that time to 55, 58. Yan po ang mga binibigyan ng Banker of the Year Award. Kaado, can you just briefly give us, nawala si Kaado nawala siguro internet niya, itutuloy ko na lang itong presentation. So, ganyan din po. Ang salaysay po ni Kaado, siya ay isa sa mga handlers ng PR ni Bobo De Ocampo, and sabi niya, binayaran nila ang Burston and Marsteller na para mag-PR para kay Bobo De Ocampo. Kaya na-award yan ng Banker of the Year. Ganyan din po, Diokno hires New York PR, which is Burston and Marsteller, which handles Tylenol, Union Carbide, Argentina crisis, and so on. Kaya din siya nakakuha po ng award Banker of the Year. Huwag po tayong magpaloko dito sa mga ito. Ang totoo po, ang inflation natin is going to get worse. Sinasabi na okay lang, kontrolado yan dahil tinataas nila ang interest rates. Ito po ang projection ni Nicholas Mapa ng senior economist ng ING Bank Manila. We actually have inflation forecast peaking at 7.2% in the fourth quarter nitong taong ito. What we got hit with in the past few months has been the first round. But recently we've had wage price adjustments, transport fare adjustments. Firms are starting to tack on the cost. Nadagdag na ngayon lang ng mga kumpanya yung mga dagdag na gastos niyan. This is the second round effect. It's going to bite. This is going to start to crimp on Filipino spending habits, sabi ni Nicholas Mapa, senior economist ng ING Bank. But now, nag-anunsyo na ang ating Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, si Felipe Medalla, which is part of the barkada nitong mga alaga po ng UP School of Economics, alaga ng World Bank, ADB, IMF, mga consultants niya ng mga World Bank, ADB, IMF, and so on. Kumikita din yan doon sa mga multilateral institutions na yan. Nag-anunsyo na si Felipe Medalla, tulad sa Amerika, the hike of 75 basis points. And hindi pa po tapos yan. So the next report natin, Philippines ends 2021 with 11.7 trillion debt. We're going through this to explain and give some background dito sa mga interest rates and so on. Ano ang alam ng lahat ng mga economists ng epekto ng higher interest rates? Ito po ang chart that I got this is from economicshelp.org. So sa first column, increased cost of borrowing, higher mortgage interest rates, increased return on to savings, ito yung positive daw, and hot money flows tataas. But what is the result? I-reduce ko lang yung time for this para marami pa tayong pag-uusapan. Lower economic growth ang resulta ng higher interest rates.
Yes.
Reduced consumption, and then dito sa sabi daw lower inflation. We have to see. Kaana, yes, you were coming in.
Yes. Kahit saang bansa ka, ang principle of finance and economics, ganun din naman ang effect. Ang tanong kasi diyan, una, yung itataas natin ang interest rate natin to curb what? Inflation. Okay, that's actually true naman in a way. Pero ang tanong kasi diyan, ano ang cost noon? Ang cost ngayon, sinasabi nga ni Mentong, it will lower the economic activity at the same time, tataas ang mortgage mo or anything na binabayaran, tataas So, ang mangyayari dyan, magtitipid ang mga tao, lower consumption. Pag lower ang consumption mo, lower din ang mo.
Economic activity.
Magsasuffer ang local economy mo. Doon yun. So, magiging mababa ang economic growth mo. Kasi consumption is part of growth. Yun So,
okay.
Tapos nagtataas ang ito pa. Habang ito yung ginagawa natin dito, ang international na level naman, kasi ang US, ang Federal Reserve, they're trying to increase the interest rates. Kasi nga, yun ang way nila to curb inflation. Pero tayo, affected tayo dito yun Oo, na-equate yung nawawala yung essence ng pagtaas ng interest rate mo dito. Kasi ang interest rates din, nag-a-appreciate ang ating currency.
Okay.
But the problem is, ang US, tagtataas din ng interest rate nila. So parang nai-equate lang
So, this is like a short seminar on the currency situation and interest rates. So itutuloy ko lang mabuo po natin yung lecture on finance today. So, should Filipinos worry about the national debt? Of course, we should be worried about it.
Yes.
Although sinasabi ng Department of Finance, kaya natin ito, and so that's not that simple. Ang isang mga dahilan na binibigay nila, we should not be too worried. Yung sabi nila, we're borrowing from local banks naman. Actually, this is some years back. Domestic banks to provide almost 100% of Philippine government borrowings. This is 9 years ago. Actually, today, government is borrowing around 70% from the domestic banks and 30% from international banks. So sabi nila, huwag kayong mag-alala dahil domestic banks lang. Actually, the domestic banks are also borrowing from abroad to buy our Philippine debt like treasury bills, bonds, and so on. So konektado yan. Anong paraan? Sa tanong ng iba, wala naman kaming alam na paraan. Wala naman sasabi na may ibang paraan. Well, there is. For example, in Russia, bakit lumakas ang Russian ruble kahit na sinasanction at nag-inflationary interest rate raising ang US? Kasi po sila ay nag-implement ng currency controls and capital controls. Ito po from the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. Amerikano pang nag-report ito. Russia counters sanctions impact with currency controls, averts currency crisis, averts credit crisis, averts all these crises. Kaya po yan ang paraan po. Dahil ng tinatawag na physical economics. Physical economy sometimes is called mercantilism, sometimes it's called several other names. No? Ang kalaban po nitong physical economics ay yung tinatawag na monetarist economics na yung i-control mong inflation just by manipulating the interest rate. Versus China, China is not using interest rates alone, although it has to increase also para yung impact ng US interest rates increase hindi po malakas sa China, but China is using physical economics. It increases its production instead of just inflationary interest rates. No? It invests, instead of increasing interest rates, it invests in productive enterprises. Kasi alam nila, magkukulang dito ang supply, tataas ang presyo nitong bagay na ito pag hindi madagdagan ng production, so they invest to increase. Well, nanawagan na lang ang President Trade Secretary na si, what's his name again, from UP again, I'll just try to remember later, ng focus ng mga senador sa RCEP. Actually, that's a problem. We know that may mga elemento sa Senado na nangaharang po ng progress ng bansa, tulad ni Ressa Hontiveros. But sabi nga, of course, ng ating mga economists, yung sa Department of Trade, no? Philippines likely to miss out on RCEP opportunities as ratification is deferred. But it's already 9:45. Okay, we'll take this break now. Yes, habol mo pa.
Kaado is re-entering.
Okay, i-admit natin. Okay, let's take this break because it's 9:45 for the raffle. For those choices, no, Kaado's book, Ka Mauro's book, or the LED fan donated by Jerry.
Wait, before anything, ihabol ko lang, na-mention mo kasi ang RCEP. Actually, there is actually si Secretary, DTI Secretary Alfredo E. Pascual is actually saying na RCEP ratification should be the priority of senators this time around. I-prioritize na yan kasi malaki nga ang nawawala sa atin, hindi tayo kasali dyan. So, si DTI naman, na secretary natin, nag-advocate ng ratification of RCEP.
Yes.
Ang problema nga natin, yung mga senador.
Yes, okay, let's get ready. Si AJ Nuho is just a Viber, but this is not entering the, we'll read her Viber message later. So, Joshua.
May intervention ako dun sa ilang issue mamaya. Lalo na sa right sizing, before anything. Okay, ang right sizing at saka or streamlining ng bureaucracy, okay naman yan talaga, totoo yan, no? In terms of principle, in principle, I agree with it. But the timing is important. Kung kailan ka gagawa ng ganon, timing is really important. Kasi bakit? Nasa COVID pa po tayo, oh my God. Marami po tayong mga kababayan na pag nawala yung 2 million jobs na yan, mawawalan ng trabaho na 2 million people na mawawalan ng trabaho, saan mo sila yung papasok? Kaya mo bang i-sustain ang kanilang pang-araw na kailangan para mabuhay na matiwasay kahit paano?
Ang dadagdag ko lang dyan, sinong uunahin? Wala tayong narinig sa right sizing ng ating Senado. Ng ating bureaucracy.
Yun lang ang sasabihin ko, Mentong. Kung magra-right sizing ka, tignan mo muna ang buong structure ng buong ng gobyerno. And that includes the legislative and the executive and even the judiciary. And you take a look at that. Una mong dapat i-collapse into one is yung legislative branch, which are na may unique na dalawang chamber ka. Collapse mo into one. Kasi bakit? Kalalakihan ng pondo ay nandyan sa kanila. Like the
Okay.
senators receive money but it's not even, may part dyan na ewan ko, hindi subject sa COA nga ata. So, alam mo yun, ang laki nang napupunta sa kanila, you collapse that. Kasi
Okay.
it's redundancy, no?
Let's go to Ka Joshua. Ka Joshua, it's already 9:47. We're delayed sa ating raffle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show it. Give me a couple of seconds lang.
Kung ano, then we can ask Ado his input before Ka Ado, any inputs?
Well, yun na, sino yung 24 ano na yan? RCEP lang hindi ma-ratify. My God, it doesn't take an hour to ratify this on the floor. No? This is of national interest and national security. We're losing opportunities. And baka katulad nung nangyari nung panahon ni B.S. Aquino, no? Kaya ako tinawag na BS yan eh. Bakit? Mentong.
Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit.
Hindi. Ang
Ano
talagang
yun?
pangalan ni B.S. Aquino ay Benigno
Benigno.
Simeon Aquino.
Yeah.
Kaya tinawag ko siyang bullshit Aquino.
Okay. Anyway, Ka Ado,
Anyway,
nandyan. Quickly.
6 na taon lumampas yung Chinese opportunity. Pinalampas niya. So let's not have more of the same idiocy.
Yeah.
No? The same mistakes of the past.
Okay.
Wala pa nga 6 years yan eh. Hindi na natin maalala.
Okay. Anyway, it's 9:49. The Tambiolo or the Wheel of Wisdom is ready.
Okay.
So, Ka
Let's
Joshua,
begin.
let's roll. Pero kaunti lang ang nakasali, ha? Not very long list.
Yan, rolling. Sobrang lapit.
Teofisto Mayuga Jr.
Yeah.
Pumili ka na, i-communicate ka kay Joshua kung which one you will choose, which book or the LED fan. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, ipaalala ko lang po, we will be communicating via email po. So, check your emails po. Tapos yung email po namin is globaltalknewsradio@gmail.com. Thank you.
Okay, para mabuo natin itong finance and economic discussion, ano ang pag-asa ngayon ng bayan? Kasi we really are facing a crisis, although media is not really explaining the grim outlook, and many inefficiencies in our cabinet pa rin, ang tamang talagang hakbang po ni Presidente BBM ay yung iyang kanyang pakikitungo sa China, tulad nitong agad-agad na inutos niyang renegotiation on the train projects, 3 train projects. Yan ang tamang direksyon kasi anong dahilan? Well, global business leaders are bullish on China's long-term economic outlook. In the past 2 days, nakipagbanggaan ako sa ilang mga Facebook posts ng mga destabilizers na sinasabi negative daw ang second quarter ng China. Actually, the first half of China's growth rate is 2.5%. The only positive growth rate among the major economies. So ano pang hihingin nyo? They're dealing with their challenges quite effectively. And even the World Economic Forum, sabi po ng representative ng New York Stock Exchange Group, si John Tuttle, I see a lot of things from the resilience of the Chinese economy, and chief among them is 1.4 billion people with hundreds of millions of entrepreneurs. That's 1.4 billion consumers and 1.4 billion potential investors. Yan po. That's why RCEP is very important. And Kaana, you met some of the very young entrepreneurs last night in the party, no?
Yes.
Yung isa sa Mindanao na Chinese lady na marunong ng Bisaya at Tagalog. Sa pagbebenta ng mga goods galing sa China, and then you have investors in the IT who have come in, and Australian trained Chinese public relation advertising person, and so on. So anyway, we are now in our last 8 minutes. Kaana, that's about what I have prepared. Any other aspect that you want to bring up?
Okay, isa pa to na dapat, I think na may kinalaman dyan sa mga loans and etc. na kailangan natin as a country. Dapat din, ang loans kasi at nagpapautang, tinitignan nila yung GDP to debt ratio. Ang Pilipinas po ay isa sa may pinakamataas na GDP debt ratio sa buong Asia Pacific. Kaya yung mga nagpapautang, tinitignan din. Kasi kapag hindi yan bumalanse, ibig sabihin, titignan kung kaya natin magbayad. Okay, yun yun. So, like for example, ang China, tinitignan nila din yan. Okay ba? Kaya nyo ba? Ano ba talaga? Gusto nyo ba? Ganito, ganyan. Ganon yun. Kaya, kailangan medyo malawak tayo mag-isip, no? Tungkol sa mga bagay-bagay. Hindi yung tipong conclusion agad. Mahirap yun. At saka
Okay.
pagdating naman sa issue ng, again, RCEP, dapat i-prioritize yan. Ang DTI secretary na natin mismo na bago ang nagsabi, RCEP should be ratified by the senators. Now, pag hindi pa rin yan na-ratify nitong opening bagong Congress, ewan ko na lang. Ewan ko na lang talaga. Ang another thing is yung constitutional change. Itong right sizing na yan, magagawa yan ng mabuti at nasa angkop sa kung ano ang uunahin mo na i-right size mo. Kung itutuloy mo, Roy, ay ano mo yan, ibabangga mo yan dun sa gusto ng ating mga kabansa na magkaroon na ng pagbabago sa ating konstitusyon at even political structure. Kasi ang political structure natin, especially the legislative branch, is really inefficient and ineffective. Redundant yan. No? Kasi kailangan mo ng upper and lower house and change our form of government into parliamentary para efficient tayo. Wala ka nang gagastusin pa ng malaki, lalo na pagdating sa parliament na part. Yun. Ibabangga dapat yan doon. Kung yun ang gusto ng gobyerno na bago, na may right sizing ka, mayroon streamlining. Tignan mo kung paano mo babaguhin, not only yung magli-lay off ka ng mga tao. No, it has to be a holistic approach. Hindi yung tanggalin natin ng 2 million kasi ano naman sila, wala silang mga redundant lang silang hindi ganoon. Take a look at the whole structure and then see kung paano mo ibabangga mo yan doon sa gusto natin ng constitutional pagbabago ng forma ng ating political structure from presidential to parliamentary. Ganon dapat ang pagtingin, hindi yung tipong tawag nito bite size ang tingin alam mo yan, mahirap
Okay.
yan.
Let's go to Kado and Ka Joshua.
Well, ako'y nalulungkot that Meg Subiri does not agree with that political change, no? Chacha is a priority. Talagang priority yan, Megs, dahil gusto namin tanggalin ang trabaho mo dahil sa klase ng pag-iisip mo. Kaya para 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ka mag-isip. Sabay-sabay ang solusyon. Hindi pwedeng may mga solusyon na naiiwan. Kung pwede lang magsabay-sabay lahat ng solusyon, gawin lahat ng sabay-sabay. Hindi yung parang majority floor leader. Kapahag na ngayon. Gusto na nga gawin kang Senate President. Pero ang utak mo in terms of priority of legislation pa rin. Kunin nyo muna mga senador ang priority ng buong bansa. Mag-meeting nga kayo, mag-workshop kayo. Ha? At alamin nyo muna ang priority ng bansa bago yung priority. Ang priority kasi sa Senado, kung anong bill yung unang na-file in the chronological order of things. Hindi pwede yan. Kung ganyan kayo mag-isip, mabuti nga matanggal na ang Senado once and for all.
Okay. Ka Joshua.
Yeah, with massive political capital ng president, dapat meron din siyang massive change na kaya niyang gumawa ng massive change, Makikita natin na everyone supports him Yung mga decisions niya, kahit kinikriticize, ay largely tinatrust pa rin siya. So, kailangan na he must make bold moves talaga. Dapat bumili siya ng oil sa Russia. Dapat ipilit niya yung buying of discounted Russian oil katulad ng Saudi Arabia. That's one. Second is dapat pilitin niya mag-tax yung mga nag-advertise dito dahil sobrang daming advertisement. YouTube,
Sa internet.
yes, sa internet. Sa YouTube and Facebook para yung mga multinational corporations yung makapagkuhanan ng national budget, hindi po yung mga pangkaraniwang Pilipino. Kasi ang laki-laki na po ng kinikita ng mga multinational sa atin sa sa mga advertisement nila dito, sa araw-araw na pinipilit sinasalaksak sa mga bagahan natin, ano. So kailangan na with massive political capital, he is in the position to make massive political change and economic change, ano.
Yeah.
Dapat magamit niya 'yun. And then dun sa dun sa nasabi ni Ado kanina earlier. Sabi niya we must send an envoy. Dapat send an envoy to Russia to buy their oil, no. Dapat in conjunction din 'yun with nag-offer na agad the Russian ambassador to the Philippines, ano. Dapat kausapin na niya, in talks na agad. Kasi with gamitin na lang yung refinery, yun nga, refined na yung bibigay sa atin so hindi na natin kailangan ng refinery.
Okay, habol, and then
may habol
meron
ako.
pa, we have 2 minutes.
Oo. Ang ano ko, ganito lang kasimple. Let's lay down the predicate, no? We support this government. That's definite. We supported BBM and the unit team. That's very obvious, no? We've done that so far, no? We've written articles in support, no? And then ngayon nanalo. Then kasi yun ang sinasabi ko, it's different to mas madaling manalo kaysa sa nandyan ka na para implement kung anong dapat sa bayan. So ang ano ko lang, that this government should have that political will na necessary. Kailangan kasi there are hard facts and hard decision to make. Na probably other people hindi mag-agree. Pero kung yun ang kailangan gawin, then so be it, no? It's for the country and it's for the people. It's not that we criticize the government, the new government, no. We're pointing out certain things na nakikita natin na hindi pa na, alam mo yun, nakikita mo na as early as now na, oops, mamaya, sandali, bakit ba kulang ang political will dito? Yun You have to have that political will and you need to have that, make decision as quick as possible. Ganun yun Wala nang, so, ayun ang mahirap, study ng study. Ang importante yan, pero wag mapako dyan sa kaka-study mo. Kung mayroon na existing body of literature na pinag-aralan na yan, noon pa. You just have to strike it. Yung ganon.
Last few seconds, pahabol kay Ado kung meron pa.
Well, we will just call a spade and propose solutions. Walang cover up dito sa programa ng Power Things.
Okay. And finally, yung 1 trilyon na kinita po ng mga oligarchs, it's time to dedicate that to the people by nationalizing the public utilities and oil. Maraming salamat po. Have a good day and a good week ahead.
Have a good Sunday.
Sige, bye.